All right. So UVA preview.
Got a big one coming up.
Big one coming up.
This is what are we gonna call them? The Virginia Blue Devils.
Blue Devils,
Right?
Virginia Blue Devils.
All right, you got a coach coming over from Duke. I don't know the exact number. You probably know, Andrew, the exact number of Duke transfers they got. Right, so
I meant to put that in the show notes and forgot, but I'm trying to remember what it was.
Yeah, so this is
that's one strike.
This is gonna be a fun series, boys. This is obviously, like you mentioned, our first big real test, right? It's gonna be interesting to see what these guys do over this weekend. You're stepping into ACC play, better pitching. I will say one thing, and I don't want to go too deep, but Andrew, you did a really good job with the notes. There's a couple things that really stand out in this series I think are going to be key. But it's going to be interesting to see. This is Chris Pollard's first, big test at Virginia since he's taken the job there. So it's going to be fun to watch, and I'm excited to see how DeCaro looks Friday. I'm really looking forward to Friday with DeCaro against UVA. It's going to be a good matchup.
It's calling for good weather so far. I think 75, 80 on Saturday. So
and as it gets warmer, these bats are going to get hotter too.
Yeah, the ball's going to carry.
Mm-hmm.
So Andrew, as both of you take a sip of water at the same time,
perfect timing.
Andrew, go ahead and kick it off. Trevor actually kicked it off there for a little bit there, but go ahead and kick it off for us as we preview, kind of like overview, like we do. We go in a little bit more depth about the history and overview of kind of where they're at.
Yeah, so I mentioned to you guys before we hopped on, I didn't realize Chris Pollard's been coaching as long as he has. He's got, stops at, I didn't put this in the show notes, but I think it was Pfeiffer University and then App State, then Duke, and now Virginia. So this is actually his first year in 27 seasons not coaching in the state of North Carolina. But he's a great coach. I know I'm not on a UNC podcast supposed to hype up a Duke guy, but I really like Pollard at Duke. I think he's a great coach. I think he's the guys that he gets are high class guys. They don't showboat a ton. I mean, he runs a good program.
Andrew, check that comment out.
A game or two from Omaha last year.
Yeah, they were one game away. Yeah. And Rev's got it spot on here. I mean, he's a great coach. I would never root for Duke. But I'll give respect when it's due. And for Chris Pollard, he deserves it. He's a fantastic coach.
Not to sound strange or anything, but I didn't realize either how long he had been coaching because he looked so young.
He does.
Like when you look, that's why I meant, I don't want to sound strange, but that's like what I noticed when I looked at his photo earlier today when I was putting some of these together is that, wow, this guy's young. But then, when I started looking at the notes a little bit deeper and creating the graphics, I was like, oh, he's actually
814 wins. He's getting up there.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and transition to our overview 2 slide. Trev, go ahead and kick this one off for us, just a little bit more on Chris Pollard.
Yeah. So, as we mentioned, he's coming from Duke, first year at UVA. 2013, he started at Duke, and he turned that program around. He had, last year I mentioned one game away from Omaha. I think that was the most packed I've ever seen Duke's baseball stadium for a game. So that was, different to see. But he's a very good coach, as Andrew mentioned. And there's a reason that, Virginia, they're always historically a very good baseball program. They lost a pretty daggone good coach to Mississippi State. So he's taken over with big shoes to fill, but he's got an impressive resume. And I think that, I hate to say it, but I think he's going to do a pretty good job there. So I'm glad he's not at Duke though. I'd rather him be at UVA than Duke.
Hey, just a little side step here. I feel like I remember, and it got pretty testy there last year at UVA, right? When we went up to Charlottesville.
So they actually didn't play last year. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't that game then.
You're thinking Virginia Tech.
Oh, okay.
That's what you're now. I know we're hyping up Pollard here, and I for VT's coach, Chef, not a guy I care for. Do not like him at all. They're polar opposites. Yeah.
I knew that's what was one of those schools up there in Virginia.
Yeah, VT. Yeah, that game got Forbes and Chef both got ejected, and Stevenson and a couple guys got into it. But that was a fun series because Carolina lost the first game and then came back and won the last 2.
Which if Forbes gets ejected, a lot has had to happen.
Yeah, I was surprised. I think he got ejected 3 times last year. I know at least twice. I think once he was arguing balls and strikes, and it was pretty bad. I mean, it was the ump was struggling. But yeah, he's pretty mellow and pretty low key. So you're right. If he gets ejected, you got to do something to get him fired up.
Caleb says there, YouTube, Forbes got a little animated this week. I mean, so far this year, he's gotten pretty more, I feel like, more animated this year than the past few years, other than being ejected, I guess, 3 times last year. But I mean, the game that ended in a tie due to weather, right? He was arguing with the ump and the field ump there for 2 innings straight because of the foul off of the player happened, I think, twice. It seemed like, and they didn't call it there. So he's Ford's being kind of feisty this year. I like it.
I loved playing for my coach in high school. He got thrown out a couple times, and that fires you up. You love a guy that's going to go to bat for you, So that's good. I love it.
All right. Well, transferring over. See, I'm always stuck on transfer because the word transfer is just burned in my skull from this past football season. So many transfers. But anyway, UVA baseball review. Is this a duplicate? Oh no, this isn't duplicate. So now we're going into head-to-head versus UNC. UNC leads the all-time series of 192 to 126 and 3 ties. Hey, interesting, 3 ties there. Sorry, I told y'all I told Andrew last episode. That's like, if I see a tie on a record, that's all I can pay attention to now for some reason. I don't know why, because I'm just writing that tie all season long now for UNC, but I can't get it out of my head. So, and then since 1997, the series here has been very even, with UNC holding a 46-43 edge over Virginia. Andrew, I'm gonna let you take it from here.
Yeah, so they didn't meet last year. The way ACC does its scheduling, you don't play every team every season. So the last time they met was 2024. Actually, I think 2024 in Omaha. Carolina won 3-2. It was a defensive game. I remember I wasn't able to watch this game. I was stuck listening to it on the radio, and I remember sitting there in the car. I had my wife drive because I needed to focus on the game, and I'm sitting there like screaming in the car when Carolina went up late and ended up winning the game. But I mean, these are 2 teams that are pretty evenly matched. You've got a program in Carolina that's made to Omaha numerous times. You've got a team in Virginia that won it, not too long ago, won it all. So these are 2 of the premier ACC teams. Anytime these 2 teams get together, it's going to be a fun matchup.
Trev, do you have anything you would like to add?
No, I mean, I kind of mentioned earlier, like Andrew said, Virginia's a historically very good program. This is going to be a good one this weekend. We're going to know a lot after this series. We'll know a lot more about our guys and what we got.
Yeah. Just for time, Trev, I'll let you keep going here for the UVA this season so far.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're right where we're, pretty much we are, right? Right where they expected to be, 10-1 on the year. I didn't know this either. So I'm glad, Andrew, you caught this. Unranked by D1 Baseball, 11th in Baseball America's poll, and 15th by Perfect Game. That's interesting to me, right? That's interesting.
It doesn't make any sense.
I can see it. Maybe you're like right on the borderline, but for them to be 11th and 15 and 2 others, so that's yeah. Coming off 2 series wins against Wagner and VCU, so similar to kind of what we've played competition wise. Nothing crazy there, and I wouldn't have thought with bringing Pollard over, maybe it's his first year, bringing the guys over that he brought with him from Duke, picked to finish 7th in the ACC. I know, ACC is stacked, right? But I wouldn't have picked them 7th. Andrew, I know you know a lot more about them this year than I do, but just from where Virginia's been over the years, man, that's a good baseball program.
Yeah, I think that that goes to show you how deep the ACC is, because you think 7th, oh, that's not great, but that's a tournament team and probably a top 25 team most of the season. Rev did say, didn't they just get thumped? Yeah. So
yes,
just a side note. I try to get these notes all done by Monday. So a lot of times the midweek games kind of get left out, but I actually took a screenshot off Twitter and sent it to Chris last night. Charlotte
has been good.
They coached by a former Tar Heel, by the way. But they thumped UVA last night, 14-0. I think they had 17 hits. Virginia only had 2. So last I checked, they were playing again tonight, and I think Virginia had the lead last I saw. But that might be we might want UVA to win one of these midweek games because we don't want them coming in super upset, Friday afternoon.
Well, I mean, we don't have to go too much into depth, but I think that's kind of interesting too. They're playing Charlotte back-to-back games here in the midway right before ACC play. That might potentially play into a little bit for this series as it relates to the bullpen.
Yeah, let's let Charlotte come back. And right now it's 8-1. Hopefully Charlotte can come back. Let them burn some arms.
Yeah.
8-8. Let's go into extras, fellas.
Yeah, Rev said we don't want them angry. But that's interesting that they're playing. If I was a UVA coach, I'd be pretty upset about that scheduling. Two midweek games, definitely this close up to Friday, right? With the bullpen. I wonder. I would like to know. We should have looked potentially, it don't really matter, but actually how many pitchers they went through in that thumping, that last night. But anyway, look, we're 48.
Sorry. Well, just one other thing. It's interesting you say that because, Carolina's had double midweek games a few times this year already, but now that we're getting into conference play, we're down to one. The only other time the rest of this season that Carolina has double midweek games is during exam week when they don't have a weekend series. So yeah, UVA's got a gripe here. They're playing back-to-back weekday games against a solid Charlotte team.
It looks like 4 arms already tonight. They've kept the pitch count low though. The highest guy's at 42, but they've already used 4 guys tonight.
Interesting. Well, look, we're 50 minutes in already, and we got a lot left to talk about. So we're going to have to team up together to go through this. Andrew, since you're on the main screen there and the main guy, whoa, hold on. Y'all know how I am. What's going on? There we go. Not sure what just happened there. Everything just messed up on me. What's going on? Give me 1 second. Y'all talk about something else. Something's going on the screen here.
Hey,
who's the coach at Charlotte?
Rob Woodard.
There we go.
Rob's at Charlotte.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And I honestly, Forbes is still fairly young, but I wouldn't be shocked if down the road when Forbes decides to hang it up, if Woodard comes back to Chapel Hill.
Hey, there you go. 5 guys last night. Shout out to Red. 5 guys last night. Only went 7. So, all right.
Run ruled at home.
Yeah, run ruled at home. It's gonna be interesting to follow Charlotte the rest of the year to see how well they do throughout the year. They've done well. I mean, that also, don't want to mention that team in red down there in Fuquay Arena too much, but NC State. Andrew, did you know where I was going once I said Fuquay Arena?
I had a feeling that's where you were going.
I'm about to get clipped. I don't care, but I was just gonna say it. They played a heck of a ball game the other night against Coastal. So
State's hitting is, man, they as of right now, their bats are playing better than anybody in the ACC, including Carolina. And I hate to say that, man, but their bats are on top of it right now.
I mean, they've had a pretty soft schedule, but I mean, if you hitting that, you're hitting that. It's got to translate. It's going to translate somewhat, right? Just like I want to revisit these players a month later. And I'll say this: the way State's playing right now, they're definitely an Omaha caliber team
for sure.
So, which is saying a lot because a lot of people weren't so high on them coming into this year. But anyway, this ain't State week. I mean, hate week. But anyway, let's get in here to our key players. We're gonna have to go through this rather quickly. Andrew, since you're on the main screen, take away AJ Garcia, and then Trevor, I'll get you on your next one.
Yeah, AJ Gracia is a transfer from Duke. He got off to a bad start last year, but he is one of the best players in the ACC, and he is by far Virginia's best player. He only hit he still almost hit 300 last year, but he had 57 walks last season, and that was second in the ACC behind only Luke Stevenson. So he gets on base a ton, but there's been no slow start for him this year. He's a D1 baseball preseason first-team All-American, ranked as the 15th best prospect in this year's upcoming draft, the 4th best outfielder. He's hitting 385, getting on base over half his at-bats, 6 homers already. So, he's kind of their version of Eric Paulson, and 11 walks. So this guy is a machine. It wouldn't shock me if Virginia ends up having a really good season if AJ Gracia is in the running for ACC Player of the Year.
I mean, he's built like a machine.
He is. He's huge.
I know that picture is not that big because Andrew had so many notes, but so I couldn't fit a big picture. That's a joke, Andrew. You can smile, but he's built like a machine. Just looking at that photo. So let's go ahead and go to our second player, Trevor. I'm gonna get you in here. We're looking at. I'm just gonna say the last name how I see it. Harrison.
I was about to ask Andrew to help me on that one.
Harrison Didawick.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah,
so
look at me.
Didawick wasn't a transfer, right? He's been at UVA, right?
Yeah. He came back for. Yeah.
Yep. So I mean, kudos to them for keeping him there because he's a good bat, and he's 364 so far on the year.
Trevor, can I say one thing?
Yep.
Real quick. You're talking about that. I was thinking about that earlier today when I realized that he wasn't a transfer, right? And I'm sure that the coach, Pollard coming in said, "Hey, you got a spot if you want it." And I don't think you pass that up. If Pollard says, "I want you," so I think that's probably kind of what transpired there. If I was to guess, right? So,
yep.
I mean, UVA is a great spot to be anyway, regardless. By putting players in the league. So if Pollard says, "I want you back," I think that's a place you go and stay.
Yep. And I mean, looking at it, I mean, he had a down year last year, 225, but 2024, 292. Nothing insane, but anytime, baseball's a sport, you get out 7 out of 10 times in major leagues and you're in the Hall of Fame, right? You bat 300 careers, you're in the Hall of Fame. So, that's solid for him to take that step forward so far this year. I think that's probably going to be a confidence booster. I would love that after this series, his average is about where it was last year. That would be nice, right? But he's another guy that's in the outfield. Both of these guys we talked about tonight, 2 outfielders. So they're very strong in the outfield at Virginia. But like I said, I would love to see that average dip this series.
Yes. Yeah. Shout out to Rev. I mean, just in the YouTube, we might need to get him on the show to talk some baseball. I mean, he's dropping the metrics, putting this in here.
Add Rev to the rotation.
Talking about sure. Yeah, I like how we use the word rotation there. Very good.
Yes, sir.
All right, Andrew, go ahead and kick us off with Henry, and I'm going to let you say his last name.
Yeah, Henry Zatkowski is another guy from Duke. Again, this is the Virginia Blue Devils. But he's been their Friday guy. He's been up and down this year. He's 1-0, but ERA's just shy of 7, 17 strikeouts, but he's got 9 walks, right? So he's averaging almost 12 strikeouts per 9, but he's walking the guys at a decent clip. So I think this kind of plays in Carolina's hand. A guy who is solid, but has some command issues, at least so far this year. Carolina, we talked earlier, they don't chase a lot of pitches. I mean, I think Gavin Gallagher's really the only one I've seen in the last week and a half that has kind of chased anything. And I think he'll get that fixed ASAP. So I think this plays into Carolina's hand. They're going to have to make Zatkowski throw it across the plate, right? They're not going to, they're not going to bite. They're not going to chase. So he's good, but this is a guy where against DeCaro, I think Carolina has the advantage. Simply because DeCaro doesn't miss a lot. His command is better, but Zatkowski's not a guy that you can just overlook. He's still holding hitters to 224 average, so he's still. There's a reason why he's a Friday starter.
Sorry, I was responding back to a YouTube comment. All right, yeah, so good stuff. I won't even listen. So my apologies. I was responding to Rev. He says I got a dissertation in my Twitter DM from this morning. So. Dissertation's
go ahead. Sorry.
No. It's a solid word. Yeah. But dissertation's kind of like a strange word around my house right now with the wife being in PhD school over at Carolina. She's in year 1 and already talking about dissertation, which is like 3 years away. But
it's a scary word.
It is a scary word. So Rev, I replied back. I'll definitely check it out. Trevor, get in here on our last guy here. We're going to be talking about Lucas Hartman. Right-hand pitcher.
Yeah, so I mean, Lucas, he's their guy out of the bullpen, right? Already pitched 12 innings this year, 6 relief appearances. UVA's best reliever, 2-0 on the year, 1.5 ERA, 12 Ks. And this is another one which, surprising for me. The his walks too. I mean, 5, but the last guy we talked about, and Andrew, you had a really good point in the notes here. I don't want to get too far ahead, but it's going to be, as you mentioned, these guys are going to have to stay patient, right? These Virginia pitchers will walk you, or that so far this year they've shown to be a little wild. So if we can continue that, take advantage of that. But this guy coming out of their bullpen, this is their arm. So I would love to hopefully get to him Friday, make him get his pitch count up and burn him for the whole weekend. That would be nice, right?
Yes.
So that's all I got on Lucas.
All right.
Another transfer though. Western Kentucky guy.
Yeah. Not a Duke guy. What are they? The Hilltoppers?
Yeah.
Yeah. They got that cool little mascot, the big red blob, whatever he is.
Andrew, I'll let you just finish it off here with our last page, I believe it is.
Yeah. So I mean, it's early, so you got to take these with a grain of salt. But Virginia's currently 8th in the ACC in batting average. They're hitting .305. So again, solid, but middle of the pack in the ACC. They're 10th in team ERA, 3.69, but they've allowed the second most walks in the conference. So we're beating a dead horse here, but Carolina, this plays into their hand. A team that's patient at the plate, a team that walks a lot. Carolina, I think, has the upper hand here. And again, Virginia is a good team. So it would not shock me one bit if Virginia won this series. We saw last year, Carolina lost their first 2 series of the year. They lost at Stanford at home and then Louisville at home, right? And they ended up winning the ACC. So anything can happen, but I do think Carolina has the better pitching staff. I don't think any team in the ACC is going to have a better pitching staff than Carolina. Maybe Georgia Tech, but our batters and as good plate discipline as they have, I think that's going to be the key here. If we can just get guys on base, get an Owen Hull on base who can steal, get a Jake Schaffner on base if he's available, who can steal and just cause chaos on the base paths and get those pitch counts up, like Trevor said. That's going to be key.
Yeah, jump on them early, right? Jump on them early, make them use some of those arms early in the series, early in the game. It'd be huge.
Thank you for listening to Heels on the Diamond, presented by Heels on Franklin. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to like it, drop a comment, and share it with another Carolina fan. That support goes a long way as we continue to grow. You can find all episodes of Heels on the Diamond on the Heels on Franklin YouTube channel and on Spotify. So whether you like watching or listening, we've got you covered. If you're looking for Carolina football coverage, be sure to check out the Tar Pit Podcast, which you can also find on the Heels on Franklin YouTube channel and on Spotify. You can also find us on X, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search Heels on Franklin and you're in. Until next time, go Heels.